See that your feet are nice and firm on the ground. Breathing out. And we're just going to make sure that we're letting the back. That's it. Lengthen and widen. So not pushing the upper back back, but that's it. Letting it come forward a little bit. And with my hands at the back, I can really sense these floating ribs. Yeah, the ones that are not attached to the front. And can you feel them? Floating up and in. That's a very important source of your breathing mechanism. 70% of it. Big chunks of the lungs right at the back there. Yeah? We're going to let the neck be free. For the head to just nicely balance there on top of the spine. Now, you know, Alexander himself was an actor in the last century. He specialized in reciting Shakespeare. At those times there wasn't a television, so people, in order to entertain themselves, they used to go out and hear people reciting. That was quite a popular thing at the time. However, he was at the peak of his career, only in his 20s, when he started having voice difficulties. And he consulted various doctors who couldn't quite pinpoint the cause of his problem. And he decided that there must have been something he was doing while reciting that brought about this condition in his voice. So he rigged up about 4 mirrors, and he sat in front of his mirrors observing himself when speaking, but also when reciting. Yeah? And what he noticed was that every time he wanted to project his voice, he would stiffen his neck to the stimulation, throw his head back and downwards, and as he opened his mouth, he would be lifting up his chest and depressing his larynx, like that. And you see that it's very often the case. There's a big connection between opening the mouth and the atlanto-occipital joint. Yeah? And you often, when you observe people, as they try and project their voice and open the mouth, what you see is actually this, a lot of nodding of the head, like that. Yeah, as opening the mouth. That's actually quite uncomfortable demonstrating it. So there's actually quite a good exercise to illustrate that, called the whispered R. How to use your mouth speaking, and it's really just the bottom lip, isn't it, that goes, yeah? Just the bottom lip that moves when we speak. Without stressing the back of the neck, yeah? Because there's actually important blood vessels going to your brain, you know, sideways, and a main one through the back. And we want to keep all that circulation going. So the whispered R is quite a funny exercise, and it's very effective. Basically, you whispered R, and it sounds like, as you let your mouth open, and you're thinking of a smile, you're thinking of something funny, that helps, yeah? So it's like that. And as you close your mouth, you just let the air flow in. Yeah? It also comes to illustrate that natural movement of your floating ribs. Yeah? And the importance of actually emptying. Most of us don't really know much about emptying. But in order to do this exercise, letting go of the neck, and are you comfortable in this ball?
Yes.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. In order to do this exercise, we need to relax the facial muscles, yeah? And in order to relax the facial muscles, it's actually best to think of something funny. Alexander often used to say that if you couldn't think of anything funny, you might as well go home and come back when you could. Yeah? So when you're ready, what I'd like you to do is to breathe out naturally, but also let the bottom lip part as you do, and think of a big smile. Yeah? Let's see. That's good. Laughing is good. Yes. Close your mouth, letting the air in. Very good. Now you see there's no need to go, because I'm being greedy for air doing that, isn't it? Because once you've really emptied, notice that as you close your mouth, air will just rush in through the nose. Yeah? Very good. Yes, close, letting the air in. One more. A nice smooth sound, making sure that you're not taking the head back. So it's really just the opening of the bottom lip and the crown of the head releasing upwards. Much, much better. You do find that the more you practice it, the better you get. That would do. That's very good. That releases quite a lot of tension at the atlanto-occipital joint, does it?
Yes, it
Yeah?
feels that it does release tension.
And your breathing really looks as if it has improved. There is more room there for breathing. It's a very good de-stressor as well, you know, when one feels uptight. It's a sign of stress, actually, hanging on to the jaws. It's something that we often do. Yeah, it's a common thing to do, to stiffen around here. One is under a lot of stress, yeah? And it means that I'm actually blocking all that good circulation of blood to my head doing so. But what I would like you to do is to turn towards your left so we can see you in the profile. That's it, and we're just going to be standing here. Yeah, perhaps a little bit if you would like to move a little bit towards the left. Yeah, just step towards the left-hand side. Very good. Yeah, facing the window. Okay. So, I'd like you to just stand where you are, breathing out, and just make this good connection between your feet releasing to the ground and the head is releasing up and away from the ground, as if there was a little invisible string attached to it, attached to the crown from the ceiling. And we want to have these two directions going on at the same time. Release your hips a little bit back the way. Yes. I'd like you to try and experience what we've done just now. I'd like to put it into practice. Yeah? I'd like you to try and use your voice. Perhaps instead of a whispered ah, you can just say ah. Yeah?
Yeah.
As loud as you can. Yeah? But with the intention of releasing the bottom lip in order to use your voice. But notice how my hands is here to remind the crown not to be pulling back, to remind the head not to be pulling back and downwards,
Yes,
yeah?
yeah.
On the atlanto-occipital, like that. Yeah? And you actually see that you can probably find that you can project your voice and without the effort that you often witness. Try it. Fantastic. How did you find that?
Initially that you forget to relax and you sort of slightly tensed up, and then I remembered to try and let go.
And did that help?
Yeah.
It sounded quite nice and long as well. There was a lot of air there to bring out.
Yeah. And also my instinct sometimes is to put my head up, and that cuts off sound, I suppose. So it's, you know, your hand kind of reminds you not to.
Not to take the head back.
Yeah.
Some people say to me, I wish you could put your hands there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, well, you could perhaps imagine my hand
Yeah.
there all the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
It would be cheaper.